Hello everybody, I'm Simona, and I want to welcome you to this episode of Extraordinary Living Through Christ, where we discuss tips and tricks that we can apply to our lives to help us step out of the ordinary and dive into the extraordinary life that God desires each of us to live. Now, have you ever experienced this? Where you find yourself in a situation where you know that God has led you to a particular place, to a particular relationship, to a particular job. It could be anything, but the fact is you know that this was orchestrated by God. And when you get there, you're confident that things are going to go a certain way. They're going to go in this direction. But then it takes a tragic turn and it goes downhill. And you're sitting there wondering, God, what's up with that? Well, I'm here to tell you today that it happens. It happens a lot in life. But there's one thing that I know. So often when God takes us down a journey and it doesn't make sense or it goes in a direction that we just don't understand, He's working out something much greater than we could even comprehend. So we got to trust Him. And when I think about this, it takes me to the book of Hosea. And Hosea understood how this feels. You see, Hosea was a man of God, and he's a prophet, and he lives his life to please God and to do those things that God would have him to do. He's a messenger for the Lord. And then one day, this is how I picture it in my imagination, God says, Hosea, I have a wife for you. And I can picture Hosea saying, yes, I knew it. I serve the Lord, I do His will, and now He's going to give me a woman, a fine woman, a Christian, godly woman. Oh, yes, I'm ready, Lord. And so as Hosea is walking down the streets of Jerusalem, he's looking at the women, checking them out. Could that be her? Could that be her? And as he's walking, God's like, no, that's not her. Keep moving, stop. And Hosea stops. He looks around and he realizes he's standing in front of a whorehouse. He's like, God, what are we doing here? God's like, I want you to go inside. So Hosea is obedient and he goes inside. And God's like, there she is, Hosea. Hosea's like, say what? There who is? There she is, the wife I've chosen for you. And there lies Gomer. And Hosea, being the man of God that he is, says, you know what, God? I don't understand it. But if you're leading me to Gomer, then you're going to work this thing out just perfect. So I'm going to follow you. And Hosea marries Gomer. And life is beautiful. Gomer is a wonderful wife. Hosea and Gomer are in love. And they have children. Everything is going just the way Hosea envisions it should go. Because God led him to Gomer. Then Gomer starts to have wandering eyes. And she says, you know what? Peace out, Hosea. I'm about to go sow my wild oats. And she leaves him. She's a cheater. She's an adulteress. She's faithless. And Gomer goes off and she does her thing. And Hosea is hurt by this. The mother of his children, the love of his life, has left him. She's not faithful. And it hurts. And I'm sure Hosea had to ask God the question, God, why? This is not how it was supposed to work out. And he's probably wrestling with this thing with God. And I see God coming to him and saying, you know what? Hosea, I did lead you to Gomer, but it wasn't for the purpose that you thought. My purposes, my thoughts, my ways are much higher than yours, and I have a greater purpose in this situation. So now, Hosea, I want you to go get Gomer. And again, I can see Hosea saying, say what? Go get who? I'm humiliated by this woman. She's running the streets with all the men. I don't think so, God. And God's like, no, Hosea, go get Gomer. And of course, Hosea agrees. And this is when God breaks down his purpose to Hosea. And he explains that, Hosea, your marriage to Gomer had nothing to do with you, but it had everything to do with me and my love, because I need the world to know how I feel about them. How I feel about a people who cheat on me, who are faithless, who are adulterers. I love them. And so that's why I need you to go back and get the faithless woman, because that's what I do for you. I come back and I get you because I love you. So there you have it. That's one example of God doing something that's so beyond us that we don't understand. But it's all good because God fulfills his purposes. So I don't know what God is doing in your life. I actually don't know what God's doing in my life. But what I do know is that we have to trust him. We just have to trust that he's doing something greater than what we understand. So as the saying goes, if God brings you to it, he'll bring you through it.
Always remember, be extraordinary living through Christ.